Hey, my Legion, how y'all doing today? I'm back with another movie review, and I finally got to see Rocky Balboa after all this time from 2006. And I also want to talk about the Rocky franchise. And I know Creed 2 just came out. I haven't seen it yet. Oh, I'm putting this up tomorrow. I'm putting this up Saturday. I'm recording this late Friday night, and the plan is the same plan as was last week. My buddy John, we're gonna go see Overlord. We were supposed to see it last week, but the weather was so lousy, we ended up canceling. And hopefully, I don't think today wasn't that great, and I know Thursday night was horrible with the weather and stuff like that. It was really bad. um, Today wasn't really that great either. I think we're supposed to get a little more snow, and I think it's supposed to be like a rain snow mixture. And I maybe another inch or so, but hopefully it won't be that bad. Like I said, so far this year, last year November, well December we didn't get slammed with snow until Christmas, and we end up in the next 3 or 4 days we got like 3 to 4 feet of snow, which was insane. Um, but last November we only got like an eighth of an inch. So far, since it rained last week, we've gotten like a foot and a half of snow so far already. We lead. They said the Golden Snow Globe for most snow so far. And hopefully, it won't be too bad tomorrow, because I want to go see Overlord. It's not worth dangerous driving conditions. You know what I mean? Well, anyways, like I said, I'm here to review Rocky Balboa, and then after I'm done with that, I'll go talk about my history with the Rocky franchise, which has been around for a long, long time. Well, Rocky Balboa, I think the last Rocky film was Rocky 5 in 1990. I'll talk about that in a bit. And that kind of killed, either it was 90 or 91, and that kind of killed the franchise. It wasn't a successful film. And then in 2006, Sylvester Stallone decided to bring back Rocky and called it Rocky Balboa. And this takes place like they have. I was saying you might think this hypocritical, but it's not. When I did the review of Blood Feast, I said it was talk, talk, talk with very little gore, but that's meant to be a gore film. This is like a drama and boxing movie, drama sports movie. So there's human interest, the development of the characters, and the boxing and stuff, and that's what this is. It shows him like after retirement stuff like that. Sadly, Adrian passed away. His son's a lot older now and doesn't like to be seen with his dad. He doesn't like living under the shadow of the Rocky name or the Balboa name, and all of the fame that comes with him being a successful boxer. His dad, and like I said, he owns a restaurant now. And you see him, and he's with Paulie Burt Young, and Paulie's kind of like hanging on, just drinking and being obnoxious and stuff like that. And it talks about the characterization stuff like that. He meets this one girl and he talks to her. I don't want to give away that much. And then there's this one boxer, Mason Dixon, and he's like the young guy that thinks he's all that. He has no fear and stuff like that. But he said he's been fighting bums. He's like never been defeated, but he's been fighting a lot of people that were easy to defeat, and he can't get any fights no more. And then they start showing on ESPN, like they were showing like computerized boxing, what a computer would pick out if they had a fight. And they did like Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier, I think. I can't remember. And then they did it with Mason Dixon and Rocky. And Rocky being the old boxing champ that's in retirement. And against Mason Dixon, the current champ, see who would win. They said Rocky would win. And that got him thinking, and then Rocky thought maybe he'd get back into fighting, but not with Mason Dixon. He got his license back, the boxing license, after some problems. And then he got talked into fighting Mason Dixon. Now, this isn't like a spoiler, because they end in a boxing match. And the boxing match is really cool. And then it starts showing a lot of metaphors and visual tricks, which kind of ruins it a little bit. But it's a really good movie. And during the ending credits, there's like a montage showing a bunch of people running up those steps and boxing and stuff like. And a lot of that's really funny because they ham it up like I would have. And they had a Philly Fanatic on there. There's one old guy going like that. That was really funny. I think they were just doing it just to have fun, and that was a fun way to end it. But no real spoilers. I mean, that's not really a spoiler territory in any of that. It shows the progression of the character, and a lot of that is like the first hour is pretty much the character development, what's happened with Rocky and stuff like that, stuff leading up to the boxing match. Then after that, the second hour is more about the boxing and the training and the fight and stuff. I loved it. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, the visual, some of the visual tricks and the metaphors kind of ruined the fight at the end, so that's why I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10. But like I said, I wasn't being hypocritical when I said, it was all talking and stuff like that. But that's what that was supposed to be. I mean, this is a drama plus a sports movie. It's both, with human interest, characters, and stuff like that you care about. And Sylvester Stallone is Rocky. I mean, that's one of his iconic characters, along with Rambo and Cobra. I didn't know there's only one Cobra movie, but I love Cobra. And the story behind this movie, when it came out, I wanted to see it. I remember Jay Leno was saying, "Oh, these movies are so predictable." And then he ended up getting excited, go Rocky, go Rocky, go. I remember seeing that. And, because they always make jokes about Rocky, but the Rocky movies are pretty good. And I remember playing at a dollar theater, and I remember I used to, when my niece and nephew were growing up, AJ and Taylor, whenever I have time off or something like that, I would try to organize at the dollar theater, maybe an afternoon we spent at the mall and then watch the movies and stuff. And it was a lot easier. It'd be tough now because I had that damn Fandango. I hate calling that. I mean, this is before I had internet or anything like that. I had stupid Fandango, but back then, what I liked is they used to have the tape recorder. They have a tape recorder with all the show times and the ratings, the movie's rating show times. And then you could listen to it maybe once or twice and then set up a schedule how you want. With Fandango, it would be impossible. But now you get that, the list of show times now. But I mean, the dollar theater's no more. The last time, I'm glad I went there October 2012 because that, 2 weeks later, it closed down. It seems like the same way with Village Cinema. We went in 97 to see Tomorrow Never Dies, that James Bond movie, and it was packed. And then that Village Cinema became like a dollar theater where it'd have second run movies, but they'd be $1.50, and they used to be first run movies. And it went out of business. It became what was the hangout coffee shop? I don't know what it is now. And that closed down the hangout. I mean, I missed the Village Cinema. The Village Cinema was awesome. Well, anyways, like I said, I was going to take my nephew AJ to see it. And I had to tell him what Rocky was because he didn't know what it was. And Dad's like, he is right. He why wouldn't he seeing it? You took us to see Rocky 3 when myself and Jody were the same age AJ was. I don't think Taylor was interested at all in that. And I mean, it's PG rated. I don't see why he wouldn't I just had to tell him what it was. And then things got something happened. He wasn't able to come over the one weekend or something. So, and then when he did come over, it wasn't playing at Dollar Theater anymore. So that was the end of that. And after a while, it was just tough to find because they'd have on Epix, they'd have the first 5 Rocky movies and they have Creed, but they wouldn't have Rocky Balboa. I don't know why. Maybe it's just a different company. I don't know. So I was able to see it tonight finally. And it's a lot of fun. Like I said, a 9 out of 10. It's really good. I think my nephew would have liked it if he would have seen it back then. But I mean, you never know. I think he would have. I don't see why he wouldn't. It's inspirational and stuff like that. I fell for him when I was a kid. And then, so let's go back and talk about the original Rocky. Now, the original Rocky was 76. It's hard to believe it's that long ago. Jaws was 75. 76, he was trying to he had a script, I guess, so he was trying to get it made. I don't think Hollywood wanted to make it. Just like with George Lucas. Um, People didn't want to make Star Wars the Western Spain. He finally got made, but I mean that was a lot more bigger budget. Now Sylvester Stallone Rocky, I don't know how much the budget for Star Wars was. But I know it said on IMDb the budget for Rocky was like $100 million, 960,000, which is still a lot of money. Like if I had $960,000, I'd be happy. And it became a giant, phenomenal hit. And then, needless to say, like a few years after that, and I love Rocky. I didn't see it when at the theaters. I know Dad didn't want to see it, or said maybe. I don't know what the deal was. I saw it on TV on CBS, and I really enjoyed it. I give it 10 out of 10. It's a classic. And then I love that song "Gonna Fly Now." Great scenes, iconic. The first time I ever seen anyone drink raw eggs before, and I was like, "Ooh." I'm afraid to do that because they said you can get salmonella from doing that. I don't know if I'd want to do that. Ugh. I had bought plenty of eggs though. Then after that, Rocky 2 came out, and I didn't see that till I was at because we just had regular TV. We didn't have or this one guy used to call it Farmer's Cable. But we just had the antenna. Whatever came on, came on. This is bad. And we didn't. And cable company didn't come out in the country. They go everywhere now. At least that's what Dad was saying. I don't know. I know my aunt had it, but she lived in Albion. And in Edinburgh, they had it like in the bigger towns. But out in the country, we didn't have it. The Rocky 2 came out, and I wanted to see that. And it was a while before I saw it. And I was at my. We went to North Carolina to see my Aunt Kathy and Uncle Bob. And they had cable, and I remember watching Rocky 2 on the cable, and also Urban Cowboy. So I showed you how long ago this was. And it was really good. I liked it just as much. I give it a 10 out of 10. And then that was very successful. And then Mr. T became a big hit because there was this big show Brian Gummo host called Games People Play or something like that. They had like the Bouncer Awards or something like that. Mr. T was on it. He became a big star. I can't remember if he went Rocky 3 and then he ended up being on A-Team and stuff like that. When Rocky 3 came out, they had a big hit song on they replaced Gonna Fly Now with Survivor's Eye of the Tiger, which was a huge, phenomenal hit. And whenever, 13 minutes, so I figured this was going to be a long video. Whenever Rocky 3 came out, actually Dad took my sister and myself to see it at the theater. And it was awesome. I loved it. Another 10 out of 10. Now, the weird thing was, in the beginning they had like him in a pro wrestling match against someone named Thunderlips. I only saw the movie once. Then years later, my dad was watching on TV and said, "Hey, look, it's Hulk Hogan." Hulk Hogan? Because this is before Hulk Hogan was a name. Because I just remember seeing the movie Thunderlips. That's all I remember. Because I was a big wrestling fan back then. But that's before Hulk Hogan was really a household name. Oh, I didn't know that was Hulk Hogan because I didn't know at the time. Just like I remember seeing Corvette Summer with Mark Harmon on TV. And I think it was one of the very first roles Annie Potts was in. And this is before Designing Women came out in those secret popcorn commercials. And if you know that, you know her. Sexy, But I mean, I didn't know about Annie Potts until I saw it again on Turner Classic Movies The Underground. Hey, that's Annie Potts. I saw it a long time ago on TV. Same thing with this. I didn't know that was Hulk Hogan. And there's a story behind that. Show you how the wrestling promoters are. I actually looked it up to make sure I got all the facts right. Oh, okay, I see how I messed up now. It said, in 1980, a little-known wrestler named Terry Bollea, dying the stage name Hulk Hogan, faced the menacing Andre the Giant, only drawing 1,200 spectators in a building it held 3,500, but the pair would face off again. The after effects of that match forever changed pro wrestling U.S. Because we didn't have, it was different. We just had the little syndicated show. We didn't have, primetime wrestling because we didn't have cable at the time. And it was different back then. This is before the pay-per-views and stuff. and it said they'd face off again in the after effects of the match for Forever Change Pro Wrestling US. In August of that year, Hogan and Andre faced off under. This is before, way before WrestleMania 3. That match was iconic when Hulk Hogan slammed Andre. Faced off under different circumstances at Shea Stadium in New York in front of 3,600 onlookers, out of 36,000. On a card headlined by Bruno and Hogan, a newcomer wrestling scene, would defeat Andre and win the respect and admiration of WWF fans. But what happened next was the WWF, this is before it became WWE, way before that, could envision. Sylvester Stallone was so impressed he wanted Hogan to perform his larger-than-life persona in the movie Rocky 3. And that's Thunder Lips, the Ultimate Male, right? However, where's it at? Oh, I must have skipped it. Yeah, because I guess he left to film that against the wishes of Vince McMahon Sr. Then this is before Vince McMahon Jr. took over. Vince McMahon Sr. was Vince's dad. And he didn't want him to perform that, and he left to do it anyway. He said, heck with you. Then when he would come back, Hogan would, they kind of ostracized him and stuff like that after that. And then, he would make AWA. He went to AWA after that. Yeah, he would make Thunderlips Demon, and then the third installment of and then Vince McMahon replaced his dad, and he had brought Hulk back. And he became Hulk Hogan, and he became larger than life. That's when the rock and wrestling connection, rock and roll connection to wrestling really started to take off, Just like, I know in, because I remember I read Hulk Hogan's book. I couldn't remember the exact same thing. I got the two Vince McMahon's confused, and also Vern Gagne from AWA. I thought Vern Gagne didn't want him to be in it. So, what happened after that? Just like when I was reading Roddy Piper's book. Vince McMahon did not want him to leave to do They Live, the iconic movie, his best movie he was ever in, and the biggest movie he was ever in my opinion. And then he said, "Well, I'll look for it." And then Vince said, "I'll look for you to be in another movie." And he said he didn't want to do another Hell Come to Frogtown. I like that movie. And then he was in movies like Buy and Sell, and then that Hal Needham movie Body Slam, those smaller budgeted movies. But Vince didn't want him to be in that big budget John Carpenter film. I'm glad he was, because I remember seeing it in Germany, and that was fantastic. The crowd went wild anyways. Like I said, that's the story with the Hulk Hogan thing. It's like the wrestling promoters own you. They don't want you to do outside stuff. Or they might tell you, well, take off then. We don't want you around anymore. Or I think, like with the Wild Samoans on that Beyond the Mat, Vince McMahon didn't want that movie out because it made him look like a jerk. And they said that one of the Wild Samoans, I can't remember, it was Hoffa and Zeke, the Wild Samoans. One of them, he left. He left. It took a day off or something like that for the birth of his son, and then Vince fired him for that. That's not good. That's not good. Vince do that. Not good that he took off for data for his son. It's very understandable. I'd take off more than that. If I had a kid. Well, anyways, I'm getting off track as usual. But I mean, like I said, the main villain. I mean, that was the opening scene with Hulk Hogan and Sylvester Stallone at the beginning. And the main villain was Miss Chia's Clubber Lang. And I loved Rocky 3. I had a great time watching it. That's a 10 out of 10. Now, that one in like Rocky 4, more about the boxing, I think, than the human interest and drama. They were shorter movies. Now, Rocky 4 came out, and it was pretty much good guys versus bad guys. The Americans versus Russians. And that was Drago, played by Dolph Lundgren. I think that was the very first movie I had seen Dolph Lundgren in, I think. And it's a lot of fun. It's really different. I think my dad... Sorry. Now, that one we rented. Now, like I said, the first two Rockies saw on TV... Well, the first Rocky saw on regular TV. Second Rocky was cable at my aunt and uncle's house, and then third Rocky went to see in the theater. Fourth Rocky we rented, and a lot of the Rocky movies I've only seen like once. Now I think I've seen Rocky 4 maybe 2 or 3 times because it was really fast paced and stuff like that. Like Good versus Bad, uh, with the Russian guy, and that's a lot of fun too. And it's very fast paced. And I think my dad liked the fact that he was a big James Brown fan. James Brown had a great song, along with Eye of the Tiger. James Brown had a great song called "Living in America," which I love that song. And there's a scene, I think before the match, where they have a big production, and it does the whole thing of him performing "Living in America," which was great. I'm sure my dad would love seeing that in the theaters, but we rented it, and he loved that part at least. I think he enjoyed the movie too. Okay, so that's that, and then a few years later, I was in the army, I was in Fort Bragg, and I saw Rocky 5 in the theaters. Now that's a movie a lot of people trash, but I like Rocky 5. It's not as good as the other ones, but I still enjoyed it. I know my roommate Hoppy. Well, he was my roommate for a while, but he's a friend. We pal around and go to movies and stuff. He didn't really like the movie, and then some people said that was just a movie for Italians to watch or something. That's what one guy said. I'm a quarter Italian, so I guess I liked it. No, I love the movie. It's a lot of fun. Not as good as the other one. I give that 8.5 out of 10. It showed you Tommy Morrison, who became a real boxer in real life, and I think he contracted AIDS, if I'm not mistaken, sadly. But he was a real boxer. I liked the movie. I enjoyed the movie a lot. It didn't do very well, so I kind of killed the franchise, though. But I know Hoppy didn't like it, but it was weird because, like I remember we went to see Full Metal Jacket. When we went to see Rocky 5, it was in the military theater, and it's just a short walk. It's like you go out of the barracks and like 100 feet down. There's a movie theater. It was fantastic, really easy. I saw so many movies there. Remember seeing Total Recall. I said, "Man, that was awesome." He goes, "It was okay," but he was really different, liking movies and stuff like that. I remember we went off post to see Night of the Living Dead, a remake, Night of the Living Dead, which is an alright movie. And he's like, he actually hates horror films. And then he was like, "Well, can we watch something else? Why don't we go see Pump Up the Volume?" I said, "We're going to see that." Or Henry versus June. Well, we're going to see Night of the Living Dead. That's what we were originally going to do. In a way, Henry and June would have been cool because everyone thinks Showgirls was the very first movie to be NC-17, which is wrong. That was a movie rating for mainstream films that replaced the X rating for the Motion Picture Association of America. Because back then they used to give like mainstream movies like Fritz the Cat, Midnight Cowboy, Last Tango in Paris X rating, and actually Last Tango in Paris still has the last X rating. Caligula, but that is X rated because it has dirty scenes in it. But everyone thinks Showgirls was the very first NC-17 movie. That Showgirls was a couple years after the NC-17 rating came into effect. And Henry and June was first, and then there was also movies that came out like Wild Orchid, what I saw, Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down, the foreign film NC-17, and the Ken Russell movie Horror, which I love horror. I know it sounds bad. But that was NC-17, and then they had Horror 2, which was R-rated, which I didn't like the first time, but I saw it the second time. I actually liked it the second time. I've seen Horror like 2 or 3 times. That is a great movie. Well, anyways, getting off topic again. But it would have been cool seeing Henry and June in the theater. I'd never seen an NC-17 rated movie in the theater. And they don't have that movie rating that much anymore because it like kills like... The thing is, like, the X rating would kill like a mainstream film, and NC-17 is just pretty much the same way. The last one, mainstream one, I know that playing cinema, so my knowledge was the John Waters, almost said John Carpenter, John Waters one, Dirty Shame, which is NC-17. Well, anyways, I like Rocky 5. I know I got off on a tangent, but there's some other stuff I like to talk about. And that was pretty much it for the Rocky movie. I think that one actually lost money. It didn't do very well, but I thought it was a decent movie. 8.5 out of 10. A lot of people didn't like it, though. And then that was it for a long time. And then 2006, like I said, Sylvester Stallone wanted to bring it back. So then we had Rocky Balboa, and I already did my review of that. Took me forever to see. I finally saw it. And then, like I said, I haven't seen Creed yet, but I did see. I mean, I didn't see Creed 2 yet, which is out now, but I did see Creed. And it was weird. I looked up the review, and that was like over 2 years ago. Like, dang, I thought it felt like I just saw it like a year ago. It was over 2 years ago. And I really enjoyed the movie, too. I did a review of that, and that's a very entertaining film. I think it's a 10 out of 10. It's great. I liked that you changed up a little bit with Creed fighting now. Yeah, I'm sure Creed 2 would be really good, you know. But I really enjoyed it, the Rocky series. And I think most people have seen that. Some people say they're very predictable, but I mean, they're very inspirational and they're really good. They have lots of really good moments in there with people, along with the great boxing, you know. So I hope you like this review of Rocky Balboa and also my thoughts or personal history with the Rocky franchise. Like I said, I mean, I don't know when I'll see Creed 2, but when I do, I'll do a review of it. You know, and it's definitely worth watching. You know, I'm interested in that too. But Overlord is the plan for tomorrow. So hopefully there'll be a review of that if the weather doesn't suck. If the weather doesn't suck, I'm going to have to cancel everything. So I hope you like this video, everybody. Until next time, please, to Gamer Legion. Again. 26 minutes.